Now to create a very different look of the house, I'm going to change the wall styles. The client has brought a photo to us with the idea that they want a different option for the house. So it's quite different than the craftsman style we've been working with. So this is the inspiration of that design. And what I've come up with using that is this approach right here. And to do that, step one will be to change the wall type to a stucco instead of the shingle siding, and then we'll reset the pitch of the roof to a much smaller, shallower roof that has a maybe even a larger overhang. So let's go through the steps in creating this. First step I'm going to do is I'm going to select the wall tool, hold my shift key down, draw a marquee around all walls, open them up, and on the roof panel I'm just going to reset the roof. I'm going to remove the toggle off of that so that'll move it to a hip roof. And then I'm going to change the pitch to 4 and 12, and I'm also going to change the overhang to 24, so we'll increase that slightly and select OK. So that's going to change the roof quite a bit. You can see the immediate effect, and it's going to cause a problem with the column. So I'm going to show you a trick with this. I'm going to delete one of them. And on the other one, if I unblock it, let's go ahead and delete this portion. And then I'm going to delete this portion of that cap. I'm going to use that to create a different column to support that once we finish. So we have a little cleanup to do. You can see that the roof needs some work on it. And when we raised the pop-outs over here earlier, then that has caused an interference that we don't want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove these interior walls that we generated to build that upper ceiling, and I'm just going to actually remove them. So now you can see the way that looks. Now the next thing is to raise that entry. You see how that's up quite a bit higher. I'm going to use the same approach that we did to raise those nested pop-out gables on either side, and I'm going to use the same approach for the entryway. So let's go back into the program, and I'm just going to simply drag this wall back in some dimension, and we'll just pull that back, and I'm just going to use the walls to create my roof for me, because it's easier for the program to create them oftentimes or faster than I can do it. So I've created a temporary room for the entryway, and double click on it. On the structure panel, I'm going to add 3 feet to that, so plus 3 feet, and let's just go ahead and copy that, 145 inches. Select OK. That's going to pop that roof up, and until we do the same thing on the outside over here, let's go ahead and make that same change. I'm just going to paste that value that we had in there and raise that up. So now you can see the effects of that roof. Now if you zoom in, we still have a little bit of an issue because of the way the wall is, and I can draw an attic wall up there and solve that, or what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to pull this into the entryway some dimension so it solves it, and then we'll just pull that up until it meets the top of that fascia. Once I have that in place, let's just select that in our plan view, copy and reflect it around the front door, and now we fix that problem. Now I think the last thing that we want to do is we want to create a stucco wall on the majority of the walls, except we'll leave that pop out, that same vertical siding. So I'm just going to zoom out here, I'm going to grab all of the walls with the exception of those pop out walls. So I'm just going to hold my marquee around those and grab all walls, looks like I got them, except the pop out walls. So let's open that up in the wall types, and I'm going to change that to a stucco wall, and you'll see the preview. Oops, I meant to call it stucco. You can see the preview of it. Select that change, and now we have our stucco walls. A quick tip real quickly, if you are in your preferences and you're having a hard time selecting things, so I drew that marquee around there. There are times when I want to select items contained or intersected, and so that will affect how you grab things. And I will change it typically between the upper two depending on what I want to do to isolate things that I select. And that's how I was able to draw a marquee around just those walls that I wanted and not get those outer walls. So we maximize our 3D view without changing the floor plan with the exception of the columns. You can see how our floor plan has evolved. We quickly went from this design, let's skip over one image here, and we went to that design simply by changing the wall types and resetting the roof and then raising our entryway up 3 feet. So it's pretty fun. Let's look at the next one, how we can use that same design and then just simply adding a second level to it to double our floor plan and our budget.